What's going on? This is Magic Mitch, and in this food adventure, I'm testing my food fighting might against this giant 12-egg breakfast omelet eating challenge. And this takes place at Peshtigo Corral in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. And for this challenge, you have a 12-egg omelet, and it's stuffed with all kinds of stuff, including hash browns, bacon, cheese, sausage, ham. Then you also got tomatoes, onions, peppers, and mushrooms. Yeah, and if you're able to finish all that within the 30-minute time limit, you get the meal for free, which is, check this, $11.99. And by the way, welcome to the Midwest. But I do believe that there were some stipulations with that. Like, that's the price for the challenge only if you attempt it. But however you want to put it, that's certainly quite a deal there. And of course, if you finish the challenge, you'll also get up on their wall of fame. And as you can see right away, I was a bit surprised to see that this breakfast omelet was still piping hot, considering the fact that I took some time after it came out to get ready for this challenge. So I made the adjustment of taking that smaller plate from the bread and scooping some of the omelet off to the side, just to let it cool off faster. Then I would take some of that down and chase it with the cold water, and I would go between each plate and take a few bites of whatever seemed to be cooled off more. Now, for this particular food adventure, I was both excited and nervous for a few reasons. I was excited because it's not a burger challenge, which I don't have any sort of beef with burger challenges. It's just that when I'm doing a challenge that's not a burger, there's a little part of me that gets excited. Second of all, this breakfast omelet challenge, it's a local challenge that's pretty close to me, so that's pretty neat. And with it being a local challenge, I was able to have a handful of family and friends come out to watch, which is always awesome to see when they take the time out of their day to come watch and support you. Many of which would actually be seeing their very first food challenge in person. So of course, I wanted to put a show on for them. But that also did make me a little anxious. And to add another layer on top of that, I was also trying to work on improving my on-camera presence, which I'm going to show you my intro in just a second, and I gotta warn you right now, it's heavy on the cringe, so don't say I didn't warn you.
Alright. And it's going.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Magic Mitch here with foodchallenges.com, bringing you another video with another food challenge. Today I am at Peshtigo, Wisconsin. Today I am at the Peshtigo Corral in Peshtigo, Wisconsin, taking on their 12-egg omelet challenge. A ton of vegetables, meats, cheeses, obviously on top with a little bit of gravy. I got my big spoon and my big fork here to help me get some bigger bites down so I can get this down as fast as I can. Looking forward to this. This is my first omelet challenge, so let's get it down. So yeah, I could literally feel the cringe just radiating out of my body as I was trying to speak there. My god, that was just so hard to watch. And it certainly doesn't help when you've got everyone there watching and staring. And I started to get in my own head about it, so I just told myself screw it. And I turned my focus onto the challenge, which, honestly, I was taking a bit too lightly, considering that this breakfast omelet challenge came in the area of 6 pounds, which 30 minutes, that's not a lot of time for it. But I also thought that since it was an omelet, it's kind of like a burrito in the fact that all the ingredients would be diced up, so it wouldn't take a whole lot of time chewing. So one thing I did plan for was, because I knew that this challenge was going to be on the greasy side, with all the meats, the hash browns, and the gravy, I brought in the pink lemonade, which is not a drink I often use, but I will use it from time to time because I find that the sweetness from the pink lemonade, it really helps cut down on the flavor fatigue caused by the grease and the oils and such. And if you've seen my food challenge videos while I was in the Czech Republic, taking on the potato pancake and that goulash challenge, I mentioned how the gravy and the greasier type of flavors, they tend to get to me a bit more. And in this case, it was no different. And 13 minutes into this thing, this is where I started to get a little concerned. I wasn't as far as I wanted to be, but I felt like I was still in okay shape. So I kept taking my mighty big utensils and continued swinging away at this thing, shoveling in bite after bite as best I could, and continuing to take sips of pink lemonade after each bite. But it wasn't too much longer, with the meat sweats coming into full effect and the flavor fatigue really starting to become a hindrance. I remember feeling like I was in this terrible situation, where each spoonful I took was sort of a pick your poison type of scenario. I could either take a bite from the top, getting a bunch of that gravy and processed cheese, or a scoop from the bottom, which was just saturated with grease and the oils from the meats and the hash browns. And even Diet Coke, which has been so clutch in so many of my battles in the past. It seemed like that too wouldn't be enough to turn my current situation around. And just to make sure that I was using the full capacity of my stomach, I ended up getting out of my chair to kneel, and I even stood up. But I knew with these tactics, with such little time remaining, would most likely not be any help. As this food challenge continued on, I started coming to the realization, and I really didn't want to admit it at the time, but I was starting to accept the fact that this challenge, I might have taken it a bit too lightly, and I should have trained and prepared myself a little bit more for this battle. But for what it's worth, this did take place before any of the major food challenge tours. We're talking before the UK and Europe series that just finished up, and even before the Get Big Michigan tour. And if you want to know why this video wasn't posted earlier, I actually talk about it in a video where I also talk about meeting Randy Santel for the very first time. And you can find that video on the screen, or you can find a link to that video in the description down below, and when you do, I'll see you there.